I'm Stephen Harris. We've got a special edition of our show this evening. If you've been watching any of our podcasts or shows, we've been previewing a lot of the Mitre 10 coaches from around the country, or at least Paul has been doing that, but he'll be pushing the buttons this evening. Well, this evening we talk to one of the Northland coaches, Tui Raeli, who will be joining us for a bit of a korero just to catch up with exactly how pre-season is going. And, of course, they named their squad just recently. So we'll just bring Tui on board. Hello, Tui. How are you?
Oh, cool, Steve. Nice to be here, mate.
Oh, fantastic to have you here. Obviously, a lot of the beg your pardon, Mitre 10 Cup squads are already been named, just waiting for the odd one to get across the line. But I see Northland have named their squad. Quite interesting. But before we get into that, obviously, just want to quickly touch on the club season. It was a strange old club season. There was supposed to be 9 rounds. That was in the Northland Business Hub Club competition, but as it panned out, we only saw 7 rounds played, and the good thing about it was we did see the 2 best sides play it out in the final, Tui.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a really strange competition. But in saying that, like you said, Waipu and Mid-Northern sort of came to the fore. Waipu had a little bit of a slow start, but just really came back into their own. Very accomplished team, lots of experience, and going back to back, I think was one of their goals that they set for themselves at the beginning of the year. But yeah, it was a really tight, contested final between the 2 teams. It's really good to see Mid-Northern also starting to make a comeback and really hitting their straps. They got a lot of youth in that team, so it bodes well for the future.
So we're just going around the grounds and obviously trying to keep your eye on a few games. Were you impressed with the standard?
Yeah, definitely. We know that a lot of the players were a little bit underdone just with COVID and things being the way they were. But to see some of the talent on display and also being able to bring some of those players into our wider squad was definitely beneficial for the union.
Speaking of beneficial, how beneficial to you has it been? I know you've been involved with the Northland Development Rugby over the last few seasons. Obviously, you've coached there at Western Sharks, obviously at local high school level, but also the Northland Development Squad in the last couple of seasons. Has that helped you in terms of your own development?
Oh, definitely. 2017, I was part of the development squad. Graham Jews and myself. We happened to be in the same hot seat again for the Mitre 10. But before that, I took myself back down to the under-19 program. I just wanted to be closer to development for those kids that were transitioning from high school through to senior rugby. So that was really beneficial in regards to seeing some of those young players coming through the system and some of them knocking on the door for Mitre 10. Yeah. Mm.
As we know, Northland is made up of 5 sub-unions. I think there's Monganui, Northland, Bay of Islands, Whangarei, Rodney, and of course a union you're passionate about, Northern Wairoa as well. How difficult is it to rely on contacts around those areas to find out information about players?
Probably for myself, because I've only come on this part of the season for the full campaign. I know George and Graham and a lot of our RDOs have really done a good job there in regards to identifying talent, and I think it's a massive thing for us. We know we have a lot of talent outside the region as well, and that's something strategic plan put in place just to have a look at that and see if we can bring some of those guys that are outside back into the union, but also nurture the talent that we do have in the far north. Definitely something we're looking at.
I also noted at the beginning of the season you were doing a lot of coaching clinics with in the regions around Northland, and you were getting some really positive feedback because we all know when players play club level they look really, really good, but you want them armed and dangerous for when they turn up to play, whether it's under-19s development. So their skill base is already there, Tui.
Yeah, definitely. Kudos to George and Graham for the mahi they have done around that. And they really got out into the regions and touched base, and we started to get a sort of a depth chart in terms of the talent that we do have, and just also just the connections with the local clubs, and being able to have a look at the talent there as well.
And speaking of that connection with the clubs, it just seems as though a lot of good things happening in Northland rugby in and around your community. I often look at the Northland Facebook, and it looks like you're getting a lot of support from local sponsors, and the locals as well seem to be excited.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, eh? And just given the situation that we've been in, to have the backing of the key sponsors and also our community, it's really important. I think it ties nicely into our theme of kaitiaki, or guardians, and just making sure that we put our best foot forward and represent our province with pride.
Fantastic. Obviously, throughout the year, we've seen a squad that's already been contracted, and you're always looking to add names to that squad. Was it a case of a lot of players that have put in some really good performances at club level putting their hand up?
Oh, definitely. Yep. The mixture of, guys putting their hands up, and also the guys that have been there before really playing well during the club season. And some of the guys are working their way back into the fray again. So in terms of our squad itself, there's experience, and then there's these young guys that are coming through, just like, for example, guys like Wise Guy and Johnny Cooper, just to mention a few young boys that are starting to make their way through the ranks.
Just looking through that squad, great to see, obviously, a veteran ex-All Black and Rennie Ranger, obviously out through most of the 2019 season with injury. He brings a whole lot of experience. And unlike the All Black coaches, we'll be hoping that All Black rugby doesn't go ahead, because that means we'll have Jack Goodhue around as well. If you think back a few seasons, those two as a combination, very, very dangerous when they get it right.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. There's a lot of experience between those two fellas. It's nice to see Ranger. He's back up and running, and hopefully he'll be fit and ready to go. Touchwood for the first game. Jack, I believe, is making his way up next week, and it'll be nice to have him back in the fold. And I think just bringing a lot of that experience and that knowledge, that'd be really beneficial for us.
Tui, you've noticed I've paid you due respect by starting with the backs, so I'll keep going on that particular theme. A couple of returning players, very, very interesting. It's fantastic to see the return of Matty Wright. He's probably been inspired by his brother training the house down, his older brother, that is. But also, it's great to see Johnny Mathalai also turning to the squad. Gives you a little bit of firepower out wide.
Oh, definitely. Johnny's a class player, as is Matt, and it's really good to see them the way they've been training, and they've both been training the house down. Johnny hasn't played too much rugby since he's been back from Japan, but he's loving the environment, and we're loving having him there. He offers so much, as does Matty. Matty's a very how do you put it? He keeps you on your toes. He's got a lot of good questions, and he's always asking those questions of you. But yeah, no, it's awesome to have those boys.
I think what you're trying to say, very, very coachable, but it's also fantastic to see a lot of returning players. Jordan Highland, we know how good Jordan can be, especially when he's slipping in outside, inside or outside first five. Very big man, dangerous with ball in hand. And even if you look at guys like Blake Hohaya, who have been around the scene as well, and of course Scott Gregory. I've got to ask you a question about Scott Gregory. We saw Scott at super level play fullback, struggled a little bit, especially against the Blues, I think it was. But I think he showed his character by coming back when Otago Highlanders showed a bit of faith in him and played him on the wing. Where do you think his position moving forward may lay? No pressure.
Yeah, no, Scotty. He's pretty much upfront about where he wants to play, and he wants to play in the midfield. He's also a great utility player, and you got to give him credit. When he was down at the Highlanders, the resilience that he showed on those young shoulders to come through, and then at the back end of that super competition, just really making a mark for himself, and stamping his authority on the game. So, credit to him. It's really nice to have him, and depending on how things pan out during the competition, he might find himself in that centre spot. Yeah.
Now, a position you've been well served in the last couple of seasons, and he's going to be hard to replace what Jack Debrasini brought to the table. Big, rangy first five who took the ball to the line. All of a sudden, you've got two youngsters in Johnny Cooper, and we know how good Wise Guy Faiani can be. Let's not forget this was a kid that was only a couple of seasons out of school, and he represented Auckland. But I see you've also got got Dan Hawkins in the background as your experienced player.
Right. It's nice to have that experience, just to guide and support JC and Wise Guy. And I've got to say, the boys are really stepping up in regards to the way they go about delivering messages to the team, the way they drive the team. And probably for those boys, it's a work in progress. But this is an awesome platform for them to continue their development in the Mitre 10.
And we probably won't spend too much time on their backs. I mean to say, your halfbacks pretty much pick themselves. I think there'll be some good battles, I would imagine, between Sam Knock and Harrison Levine in the squad as well. I'm just looking around to see who your third halfback is. Have you picked the third halfback in the squad?
Yeah, we've got Will Grant. He had a few games for the Mitre 10 at the back end of last year, and he's in our wider squad. Yeah.
In fact, I remember the game he played against, I think it was Tasman, and I think he was close to your man of the match in that particular game. And he's just he's such a nuggety little player, and he looks tough, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is nuggety. He's just got that Aussie confidence about him, mate. And he never takes a backward step. And he loves being confrontational, in your face, shut down your time and space. But he goes well. It's nice to have him in the squad too.
Well, I was going to say that there are times over the years as we move into that Northland and the pack haven't always been big, but boy, you can't be criticised for lack of size this year, because if you look into your front row, you've signed Kalolo Tuiloma, Luatangi Lee, who looked really, really good in the final, and of course you've brought back Te Whata Kolia back into the fold last year. I know three very big boys, but how's the fitness of those three lads? Yeah,
it's getting there. They're putting in a lot of hard yards in the background, and they're doing the extras. But I think with game time under their belts, they'll look to steadily get better and better. You can't take it away. They're technicians, and they love their craft, especially in their front row. The dark arts, I suppose you could call it. But yeah, they are working hard, and they know what they need to do to contribute to the team. So that's the most important thing.
And we all know the experience and dynamics that Ross Wright brings to the table. I've heard good reports about him in terms of his fitness, and we know he's got a great skill base. And he's not the biggest prop in the world, but he does scrum well. But you've also brought in a new man. Is it Tyler Kearns playing up here for Awanui? Now he's played a bit of Heartland rugby, so a bit of experience, not just for West Coast but also New Zealand Heartland. What do you like about Tyler?
Oh, Tyler, mate, he's a good man. He's good within our team environment, and he does a lot of homework in the background to get him up to speed with this level of rugby. And he's really diligent and perseveres. And it's been really good seeing his development in the off season for us, and looking forward to seeing him on the pitch.
Now, if you're tuning in, you're listening to New Zealand Sport Radio. We're interviewing one of the Northland coaches, Tui Raeli, who looks after the back. So I hope you're enjoying it. Please make sure to like our Facebook posts, and there's a whole lot of avenues that you can check it out as well. But make sure to jump on the Facebook website and like that first. Now, just moving into the middle row, just seems like you've got a bit of depth there with Sam Caird, Josh Goodhue, who I thought was looking really, really good for the Blues at super level. We've also you've got like Tom Robinson, who can slot into lock as well, but you've also got Temo Mayana Vanua, the Waipu skipper, who when I last saw him, he was looking in amazing shape.
Yeah, Temo's doing well. He's just coming back from concussion protocols. He's been awesome in regards to developing our lineouts, but also to have Sam and Goodhue there gives us a lot of height as well. So it's definitely going to hopefully benefit us going into these first few games. Yeah.
Yep, a lot of ball winning ability, and of course you've got a couple of experienced heads in the wings as well with Matic back in the fold. Obviously, you just mentioned before Sam Mcnamara, but a player that I'm very, very interested to see at this level, because I saw a little bit of him in a trial at Horohoro last year, and I was really, really impressed. And that's Saimoni Ului Nakavadra, who came on and played a bit of a cameo for Waipu in the final. But boy, this kid, he belies his size, doesn't he? And can he play those three loose forward positions equally well?
I believe he's probably more suited to the flanks. But yeah, just watch the space, Steve. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised to see how this guy goes once the competition kicks off.
And of course, good to see you've got the experienced man from Carmo back, Kane Jacobson, hopefully over his head concussion. So really, when you look at in the mix, it's not a bad squad that you've actually assembled in the key things. It's probably one of the bigger and more experienced squads that Northland is running out in the last few seasons.
Yeah, definitely that back row, though, that locking combination. Definitely lots of height there. And obviously with the addition of Kololo and Lua in the front row, it gives us a lot of size as well. Just watching the boys scrum the other night, just being a back and then watching these guys, they're just, I don't know, just different. Just a unique bunch. I think they call them the concrete mixers. Yeah.
Yeah, also remiss of me not to mention Sam Caird as well. I mean to say, for a tall, skinny guy, man, he plays well above his weight as well. Has he actually put on any weight, or is he still that tall, gangly size?
Probably not so much dangly. He actually looks like he's got good size on him. I think just his time with the Blues, his body shape's changed significantly, I believe. And yeah, he's been training the house down since he's been back with us.
Well, you've certainly got all the ingredients here from a coaching point of view and an expectation point of view. As we head towards the end of this interview, what are your expectations from your coaching staff? What would look good for Northland?
I think our expectations is that we firstly develop the players themselves in regards to both on and off the field. We develop a culture where the boys feel engaged and safe. And then hopefully goes through into their performances on the paddock. We've done a lot of work around culture in regards to how we're going to represent our province. What does guardianship or kaitiaki, that of a taniwha, look like in our environment? Look like in our homes, look like in the gym, on the paddock. So that's really important for us, is to really have that sense of strong identity to where we're from. And obviously the long-term goal for us is to win a championship. But until then, we're going to be pretty much process driven, week in, week out. Work as hard as we can, make sure that we rectify things and problem solve on the run. And yeah, just really make sure we get up and we play well, not only for our province, but for the players themselves and for our rugby community.
It's interesting that you say that. I look at one player that you know really, really well, because he was a development player of the year, not last year, but I think 2018, Aorangi Stokes. Some of the mana that he actually brings, not just to the team, to the region. How big is he for your squad? Even if he's not getting much game time, but off the field.
Yeah, no, he's a big personality amongst the team. He drives a lot of our cultural activities, helps us connect in regards to, so we have Team Haka and we have Team Waiata, just explaining to the boys what the words of the haka and what the words of the songs mean, and how that connects us and grounds us, keeps us focused in regards to our community and the community we represent, from Wellsford up through to the Cape.
Tui, a final couple of questions. Just in terms of your depth and looking at the squad, how comfortable are you with your depth?
Yeah, we're pretty comfortable. I mean, and it's also good to see that our development team, we've got a bit of depth there that we can pull from, especially when we get deeper into the rounds. But, we were plagued by injuries last year. So we're pretty happy with the depth we've got so far. Touch wood that we don't pick up any more injuries, and we can go through with a strong squad week in, week out. That's the ideal, but as you know, with the way the competition is, a couple of curveballs might be coming our way as well. So who knows?
And just finally, have you had a pre-season hit out, or have you just done more of an internal thing with maybe both squads?
Yeah, just with COVID, it's really hampered some of the games we had planned to play. So last week we just had an internal trial, and we're looking to play another game tomorrow, just internally as well.
Well, Tui, I'll leave it at that. It's all it's what is we talking about? 9 days away. Not Sunday, but following Sunday, home game against the Turbos. I guess the perfect way to start will be with a win. So I just want to wish you all the very, very best. As you know, you can see I wear this cap, so you know where this boy's heart lies, and I'm unashamedly biased Taniwha. So I want to wish yourself, Graham and George, and of course the rest of the Northland team and their supporters all the very best for the season. Thank you again, Tui, for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. Thanks for the opportunity. Go the Taniwha.